Hey, this is Kris with the release technique. And have you ever found yourself in a situation when things didn't go your way and it just felt dreadful, right? Of course, we all have had this. And whether it was like a situation that was like a goal that you're working on and you worked really hard on it and it just fell through. It failed. And you're left there like, ugh, right? Or I know a really good example, because we've all have experienced this, when a relationship didn't go your way. And so you're like really committed to somebody and they said, yeah, hey, I don't want to be with you anymore. Right? It brings up some heavy feelings and a lot of noise in your mind. A lot of what ifs, or I could have done this, or how do I fix this? And we get spinning around with all this mental noise. And if there's someone else involved, then you got all this mental noise that's maybe blaming the other person or trying to, figure out what went wrong and all this stuff. And it just goes around and around and around, and it doesn't seem to stop. And on top of that, you got these feelings, these dreadful feelings that just don't seem to want to go away. And your intention is to let these feelings go so you could either resolve the situation, turn it around, get it corrected, or get these feelings out of the way so you can move on with your life. Move on to the next thing, the next chapter in your life, right? But they're not going anywhere because you got this story that's spinning around in your head and these feelings that are just pounding on you. And they feed off of each other, right? It's like the story gets fueled by the feelings. So the more anger, the more grief, the sadness, the more apathy that you have, the feelings of, oh, no matter what I do, I can't win. And that fuels the story, you see, because you got that feeling of apathy. And it comes out as a story of, no matter what I do, I can't win. And then you start spinning around that story, and that in turn charges the feeling. So you keep telling that story. It runs in your mind over and over and over again. And the more it does it, the heavier you feel. And these feelings just get more dense. So they really just work off of each other and keep you stuck. So I'm going to give you a secret. Well, it's really not a secret. It's a powerful tool, an insight that you can use right now so you can get a handle on this stuff and get yourself unstuck. All right? So think about a situation right now that you have or have had. And maybe it was a relationship. That's always a good one because it seems to stir up our deepest feelings. Now just think about it. A time when something didn't go your way. And it was terrible. And get in touch with what happened. Get in touch with that story. It's still a story in your mind. You still have a story about it. And get in touch with the feelings that you have. You probably still have some feelings about it. Maybe they've been suppressed and buried for a while, if it was something that happened a while ago. Or if it's something that's not so long ago, or something that may be even going on now, yeah, you probably don't have a big challenge getting in touch with those feelings. But feel those feelings now. Now notice, the more you think about the story, it activates these feelings. And as these feelings come up, they bring you deeper into that story. Now they seem intertwined, but they're really two separate things, the story and the feelings. And here's how you can easily handle these so you can really move forward to do what you want to do. Now, since they're separate, And I'll prove to you in a second that they're separate. Take that story that you have right now and just set it aside. Just kind of like put it on the shelf. We'll deal with it in a second. But all that story, all that mental noise of what's going on, just set it aside. And notice that feeling just by itself without the story. That feeling that you have. Maybe it's grief, maybe it's guilt, maybe it's pride. Like, I didn't do anything wrong. I did everything perfectly. It's their fault. And so that isn't a positive thing that's going to get you anywhere, and it's still a feeling. So whatever feelings you have, just feel it as a feeling without the story, just the feeling. And notice, without any story, without any judgment about it, that it's a good feeling or a bad feeling. It's just a sensation, right? Like a phenomena in this moment, a phenomenon in your experience. Now this you could deal with. It's a lot easier without all the other stuff that's feeding it. And it's just a sensation. Now look right at that feeling, whatever that feeling is, and just say yes to it. And say yes to that feeling even more. And notice, when you don't have a story about it, it's easy to just say yes to it. It's just a sensation. Could you say yes to it even more? And could you say yes to it even more? And could you say yes to it even more? And could you say yes to it even more? And even more. And even more. And notice if you feel lighter now, just by saying yes. Now if you feel lighter, you got a little bit of momentum going, a little bit of positive momentum. And you're lifting yourself out of the stuckness. Now let go of pushing down on the rest of that feeling. See, we all have a tendency to fight with our feelings. We don't like them. And especially when we have a story that's running in our mind. We're fighting with the story and we're fighting with the feelings. And it's us that gets knocked around in this fight. So right now, let go of fighting with your feeling. Let go of pushing on it. Just allow it to arise. Welcome it up. And just surrender this feeling over to beingness. And surrender this feeling over to beingness even more. And 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 just allow it all to come up. Surrender it over to beingness. Just allow it to just pass through, evaporate and dissolve. All of it now. And more. And even more. And notice how you feel. And see if you feel better about the situation. See, now we could take that story back off the shelf and look at it. And does it seem like such a problem now? Like such a big deal? It's just a story. And maybe, if you really let all of your feelings go, you could see that It's not even true. It's just a story in your mind. So now, could you allow this story to evaporate and dissolve? And could you allow it to evaporate and dissolve even more? And even more. And even more. And even more. Now notice what you're experiencing now. See if it's even less true. Now you see how easy this is? If you just chunk them down, set the story aside, see the feeling as just a sensation, that's something that you can really kind of get in touch with and let go of easily, because you're not spinning around. You could focus in on that feeling. And once that feeling's out of the way, there's nothing to fuel that story anymore. So you look at it, it's like, it's not even true. And you can let that story go. And what you ultimately come to the realization of is that you are in charge of all the stories in your mind. They're just stories, and you're the boss, which means you could have whatever it is that you like. See if you have an option to have it now. You see that? It really is a picture in your mind. And all these stories that we have, that we're still holding on to, these stories of I can't, I'm not good enough, I'll never win, that life is awful sometimes. None of them are true. It's just a sound in your head. And when you just separate your feelings from the story, it allows you to kind of chunk it down, and you could deal with one at a time. And really get to the truth experientially, where you see it for yourself. And that is the ultimate truth. That everything is your picture. And all you have to do is just get nice and quiet. No feelings, no sounds in your head. And things really do become effortless in your life. And you can have whatever you want in abundance. Now, if you're ready to step up and practice this in a big way, we've got one of the most powerful courses that we do all year long coming up right now, called the Love Yourself and Let the World Have It Your Way course. It's a 6-week course, which I've just decided to go ahead and do for 7 weeks now. And it is an amazing course that really gets you in tune with all the goodness and all the abundance that is inside of you right now. Everything that you're looking for is inside of you. And you probably have heard Lester say that. And if not Lester, many other masters are all saying the same thing. Everything that you're looking for is inside of you in abundance. So join us on the Love Yourself and Let the World Have It Your Way course. And open this up. See what it is, that goodness inside of you. And be one with it. So that you could really let it flow and demonstrate the results that you'd like to see in the world. Now it's starting really soon. Click the link below. Sign up and join us. You could sign up with a split pay option where you just pay a little bit at the beginning and you pay the rest at the end of the course. Or you could save a couple $100 and pay it all right now. Either way, it's a bargain, especially now for 7 weeks. For such a powerful course, it's really going to change your life and let a lot of stuff come into your life. And if you're ready for that, then click the link below and join us. We look forward to sharing this amazing journey with you. I'll see you soon.